Hi, we are going to go over a virgin lightening technique. This technique is done using Lightner in the video, but you can also do this technique using permanent color on virgin hair. When mixing my lightener, I used equal parts of 20 volume developer and lightener. You can use up to 30 volume developer on the scalp, but it's not recommended to use 40 volume or higher because it can cause extreme irritation and even chemical burns on the scalp. For this technique, you will need your color bowl and brush, your clips, and a comb. Don't forget to wear gloves as well to keep yourself safe. I sectioned my mannequin into 4 quadrants with the middle part going from the front hairline to the back and each side section parted from the apex to about the top of the ear. I'm starting in the back because naturally the back of the hair is where it's going to be darker. We know that over time, the sun and other environmental factors tend to lighten the hair, but the back doesn't see those environmental factors nearly as much as the top, which gives it a darker appearance. So starting in the back where it's darker will give you a more even end result. You want to use very small sections, about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 an inch thick depending on the density of the hair. If your sections are too big, you won't be able to get a clean application and your lightener or color will not saturate the section as well as it should, which can lead to spotty color or lifting. After you take your section, start about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch away from the scalp. When the head is finished, you'll go back and apply your product at the scalp. The reason for this is because the hair closest to the scalp will experience heat coming off the scalp and lighten faster. Also, the hair that has recently grown out of the scalp is newly keratinized, and it hasn't hardened as much as the hair that's been grown out and exposed to the outside world for a couple of months now. If you lighten the whole strand at once, you'll end up with what we call hot roots, where the root area is lighter than the rest of the strand. Continue up the head with your sections using your comb to make sure every section is combed out and nice and neat as needed. To help you keep your sections separated, you can also use a strip of cotton and just lay it at the base between each section and it will help keep them separated. Once you're done with your back two sections, you will move to your front sections, continuing with the same technique. You'll be taking small sections and continuing to apply your product about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch from the root area. You can see there that my mid-strand and end sections are done, so I'm going to go back and start applying it at the root. First, I'm going to outline the section so I can make sure that I don't miss any spots. Once my section is outlined, I will go back and continue taking small subsections like I started to in the beginning and applying the product in the root area. If you need to go back and apply more lightener on the ends to make sure that everything stays saturated and moist, now would be a good time to do that as well. You want to make sure that your lightener stays moist and doesn't dry out. As soon as it starts to dry out, it's going to stop working. So make sure that if you have any spots that are starting to dry out, re-wet them with the lightener so that they will continue to work. Once the head is completely saturated all over, you can let it process and clean up your materials.